Hi, you're with Peter Carr and Scott Stewart on LTV's The Research Channel. CA Technologies is a very well-known brand in our industry. They rebranded within the last six to 12 months, and there's an episode on the Research Channel about that you can find. One of the acquisitions they made this year or in the last 12 months is Nimsoft, who joined the fold. They also have an annual event called CA World, which was again held in Sydney this year after occurring in the US, obviously. Scott, you attended for us, so what were some of the highlights?
Yeah, so I was very impressed. It was great to see some of the technologies that CA have on offer, and they structured the day around the core sort of pillars, if you like. So they talk about plan, design, deliver, secure and assure. So I thought that was really good. So it was a real sort of end-to-end ICT management solution. And
so from an ex-CIO's perspective, do those themes kind of gel with you?
Absolutely. Very much so, and I was just really impressed with some of the key things were, for instance, the ability to develop a dashboard out of the box, around SLA contracts, so that you could map all your outsourced suppliers and you could just look at a glance and see whether your SLAs are being met and what's the sort of on-flowing effects of that.
Okay, so what are we actually talking about here? Because CA is very well known for service management technologies. They're very well known for their security technologies, program and portfolio management. So I guess the dashboarding thing was a part of that PPM solution set.
Yeah, so they announced some new products, and they announced upgrades to existing ones. So there's about 10 releases or 10 sort of significant announcements as part of the one release. So they announced Business Service Insight, and this is really around what I was talking about just before. So it's the service assurance, service performance, SLA, it's around benchmarking, and it has a lot of inbuilt security components as well.
Okay.
And it was impressive. So I really thought that these are the things that the service providers really need to sort of get a hold of.
Sure. So look, when we did our cloud study in February, when we released it, still getting a lot of traction, a lot of interest. We've had calls from a few customers who've said, CA isn't in that space, in that cloud space, but we see them associated with cloud. So, can we just quickly cover CA and the cloud story, because they do play a very important role, don't they?
Very much so, and even more so now with their release. I mean, they focused on saying that we provide cloud choice. So whereas if you chose a cloud vendor, you were going with that one vendor stack. What they're saying is that they have the technology to allow an enterprise or a service provider even to deliver multiple cloud choices.
So it's really about cloud being delivered by a service provider to a client, though, isn't it? Because the client really isn't stuck with the vertical stack, they're buying cloud services.
Unless you're building a private cloud, and so some of their releases around which one was it? Automation Suite for clouds is all about provisioning and cloud workflows. They have AppLogic, which we know about. That's the turnkey cloud solution, which again is about provisioning, it's about deploying, and it's about managing. And that's regardless of what hypervisor you're using. So there are enterprises who are building private cloud who I think would appeal to that technology, and obviously service providers predominantly would deliver that down to their clients.
Well, that's great. So when we go to these events, there's so much content covered in a day or 2 days or however long these things tend to run for. We even go to 3-day and 4-day events, right? So, but it's quite often great to just come away with 1 or 2 key points. So for CA World in 2011, what were probably 2 of the most salient things you took away?
I think clearly the concept of cloud choice I felt was very interesting. It means that rather than selecting a cloud vendor, you can actually leverage multiple cloud vendors and still be able to manage the cloud. So cloud management, very, very important. I think after the hype of cloud, after the vendors getting their products to the market, now I think we need to seriously look at how well that cloud's being managed.
So this is really for the DIY cloud organisations, for those organisations that are confident enough to think that they can actually pull off a private cloud?
Absolutely. I think that the ability to manage it is probably predominantly what's on CIOs' minds about, okay, we want to do cloud, we intend to do cloud, we're planning it, but how do we manage it? Mm-hmm. And these are the kind of toolkits that CIOs really need.
Okay, so the second point?
Service providers, and I think focusing on them, what I took away was ITSM, so IT Service Management in the cloud. There's really no excuse now not to have ITSM DNA built into your delivery to clients, and there needs to be more focus on it, and there's certainly some amazing tools around that again helps them to manage their clouds better.
So does the ITSM for the service providers, I guess that'll be a key criteria when we go back and look at the trusted infrastructure market, right? Because if we can see that those providers of cloud services don't actually have ITSM as part of their offering or within their own businesses, then that's going to be a critical factor.
Totally, and we did see that it was low the last time, so the ITSM adoption and maturity was lower than we would have liked, and I think it will be different this next time around when we do the same study. And I think that in the past, having a cloud product was the differentiation. I think the next differentiation will be how well you manage and how well you deliver your services to your clients.
Okay, great. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.